All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Let's do it.
Today, we're talking all about those morning routines.
Ooh, morning routines.
Not the kind where you're just like barely awake, stumbling towards the coffee.
Yeah.
We're talking about routines that set you up, like really set you up for a good day.
I like it.
I've actually got a whole stack of sources here.
You came prepared.
We've got tips from this organization called Operation Excel.
Okay.
Got some advice specifically targeted at college students from College Data.
Interesting.
And even, get this, some insights from a productivity expert. His name is James Clear.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
He talks about something called the 2-minute rule.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So I guess our mission today is to really help you, the listener, figure out what actually works.
Cut through the noise.
Yeah, cut through all the noise, figure out what are maybe just morning routine myths,
Myths, I like that.
and hopefully uncover some like really fascinating facts.
I'm sure we will.
I'm excited about this one.
Me too.
So, just to kind of jump right in,
Yeah, let's jump in.
one of the things that I found really interesting was this idea from Operation Excel. They say people who consider themselves morning people,
Okay.
they often report feeling like happier and healthier overall.
Interesting.
So I'm curious, does that ring true for you at all?
You know, I've heard that before, and I think there's something to it.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, is it something about, like, being a morning person, or is it maybe just that they're the kind of people who are more organized, they've got their day planned out, you know?
Totally.
It's like a chicken and egg thing, right?
Yeah.
But there is actually some research out there that says,
Oh, really?
yeah, having a structured morning routine, regardless of when you wake up, it can really reduce stress and increase productivity.
It's almost like they've like hacked the system, right?
Maybe they have.
Speaking of hacking the system, I got to tell you, Operation Excel had this tip about alarms.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was pretty clever, maybe a little extreme. They suggest you keep your alarm across the room, forcing yourself to get out of bed.
I
So
get it.
turn it off.
Make it harder to hit snooze.
Have you ever tried this?
I haven't, but it makes sense, thinking about sleep.
Yeah.
You don't want that blue light from your phone right before bed.
Right.
And how often does hitting snooze actually make you feel more rested, really?
Never. It's like the reset button on Groggy.
Exactly.
I actually did try this a while back.
You did.
I was surprised.
How dope.
It really worked. It was much easier to not crawl back into the covers.
I can imagine.
So once you're up, Operation Excel, they have another suggestion.
Okay.
Simple but powerful. They say drink a full glass of water
Okay.
before you even think about that coffee.
Oh, before coffee.
I'll admit, that one's a little tough for me.
Yeah.
I'm all about that morning coffee.
Yeah.
But they say it can do wonders for your energy.
Well, think about it. Your brain's like, what, 75% water?
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah. So starting the day hydrated gives your brain what it needs.
Oh, that makes sense.
Like even mild dehydration can really mess with your energy.
So it's like hydrate or dehydrate?
Yeah.
I guess there's some truth to that.
Right.
Okay, so we've talked about waking up.
Yeah.
We talked about hydrating.
Hydrating check.
Let's talk about exercise.
Okay, exercise.
What are your thoughts on squeezing in a workout first thing?
I mean, it depends, right?
Yeah.
Some people love it. Some people, it's just not their thing.
Operation Excel, they're big advocates. They say, make time for movement in the morning.
They're not wrong. Studies show even a little exercise can boost your energy,
Makes sense.
Helps with mental clarity, improves your mood.
I've heard that.
It doesn't have to be like a whole gym session, though.
Okay.
Just find something you enjoy.
Like what?
Could be a quick walk, could be some yoga.
Okay, so even just like a walk around the block.
Exactly.
That counts.
It all counts.
All right, I can get behind that.
It's about what works for you.
Now, on the flip side of that, all that movement.
Yeah.
Operation Excel also talks about finding some quiet time
Oh, yeah.
in the morning.
Interesting.
Like reading, meditating.
Quiet contemplation.
Yeah, just taking a moment for yourself.
That's huge, I think, especially nowadays.
Yeah,
It's so easy to get caught up in everything from
Oh.
the moment you wake up.
totally.
But taking even a few minutes, it can really make a difference for your mental well-being.
It's like pressing pause before the day really gets going.
Right, like a reset.
So we've covered hydration.
Yes.
We've covered movement. We've covered quiet time.
Sounds like a well-rounded morning.
Now, let's tackle something that's always a bit of a debate. Breakfast.
The most important meal of the day, or is it?
Operation Excel, they're definitely in the breakfast is king camp.
Okay.
But interestingly, our College Data article, the one about procrastination,
Right.
doesn't mention breakfast at all.
Interesting.
What do you think about all that?
I don't think there's one right answer.
Yeah.
Some people, they need breakfast. Others are fine without it.
So it's like a personal preference thing.
I think so. It's about listening to your body.
So if you're not hungry,
Don't force it.
you don't have to eat.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes me feel better. I'm not always a breakfast person.
Me neither. Sometimes I just need coffee.
Yeah,
But sometimes, you need a good meal to get going.
absolutely.
Our bodies are weird,
They are.
and that's okay.
It's all about figuring out what works for you.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we have.
Waking up, hydrating, moving our bodies, finding that quiet time, the great breakfast debate.
What else could there be?
Well, there's one more thing I want to talk about before we wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's procrastination.
Procrastination, everyone's favorite.
College data points out this fact, kind of a sobering one.
Okay.
They say procrastination is linked to lower grades and less well-being.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Something we all struggle with, right?
I think so. It's often because we're afraid of failing or feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's real.
You gotta understand why you're procrastinating.
Hey,
That's the first step to beating it.
college data, they have some pretty practical tips.
Oh, like what?
They say find a dedicated study spot,
Okay. Dedicated space.
eliminate those distractions,
Get rid of the phone, right.
break down big tasks into smaller chunks,
Yeah, make it manageable.
and even work with a study group.
Accountability buddies.
Yeah, what do you think about those tips?
I think they're all great, but breaking things down, that's huge for me.
Yeah, it's like, how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Right, exactly.
Makes it less daunting.
They also talk about the power of positive reinforcement.
Oh yeah, celebrating the wins.
Yeah, like reward yourself for completing those tasks.
No matter how small.
It's not about like powering through, punishing yourself.
No, it's about being kind to yourself.
Yeah, acknowledging your efforts.
Gotta celebrate those wins.
Like giving yourself a pat on the back.
For sure.
Even for the small stuff.
Exactly.
Before we move on to part 2,
Okay.
I want to introduce one more concept.
Okay.
This one really intrigued me. It's called the 2-minute rule.
2-minute rule. I like the sound of that.
It was from this habit formation expert, James Clear.
Him again?
I'll admit, I was skeptical at first.
Really?
Yeah, can just like scaling down habits actually make a difference?
You'd be surprised.
Okay, tell me more.
The idea is to make starting a new habit
Okay.
so easy, it's almost silly not to do it. You
Awesome.
lower the bar so low,
Okay.
you trip over it, and boom, you're in motion.
You're doing it.
You're doing
I
it.
like it.
That's what matters.
Clear, he has some good examples in his article.
Oh, yeah.
Like, instead of trying to read a whole chapter,
Yeah.
just read one page.
One page. Okay.
Or, if you're dreading a workout,
Uh-huh.
just put on your running shoes.
That's it.
I love how simple it is.
It's not about tricking yourself.
Okay?
It's about building consistency,
Yep.
Feeling that sense of accomplishment.
Even with those small actions.
Even the small stuff adds up.
So, listener, as we're kind of wrapping up this first part,
Yeah.
I want you to think about a habit you want to establish.
Okay.
Or maybe a change you want to make.
Could be anything.
How could you apply this 2-minute rule?
I like it.
Make it less daunting, more achievable.
Put it into practice.
Yeah, give it a try.
I'm going to try it too.
Me too. It's funny, right? How we can like psych ourselves out before we even start something new.
Totally. It's like we build up this wall
Yeah.
before we even take the first step.
But this 2-minute rule,
Yeah.
it's like a sneaky way to get around that.
It really is.
You outsmart your own resistance.
Exactly.
I think it's like lowering the bar so low that you kind of just trip over it
You can't help but start.
and you're in motion.
Right. That's the key.
That's what matters, that initial
The
momentum.
momentum is huge.
It makes me think about something we were talking about earlier with those morning people. Maybe it's not just about waking up early.
It's got to be more than that.
It's that feeling of already having accomplished something.
Being ahead of the game.
Yeah, like before the day even really starts.
I think there's something to that.
It's like you're already winning.
It sets a good tone
Yeah.
for the rest of the day.
Speaking of winning,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what do you think about this 2-minute rule in the context of procrastination?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Could it be a useful tool for people who tend to put things off?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest reasons we procrastinate is that feeling of being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You look at a task, it just seems massive,
Right.
like impossible.
It's a mountain.
But if you break it down, those tiny 2-minute chunks,
Yeah.
suddenly it's not so scary.
It's way less intimidating.
Right.
It's like facing a fire-breathing dragon.
Versus a little lizard.
Exactly. You're way more likely to tackle the lizard.
And once you take that first step, even just 2 minutes,
Yeah.
it's easier to keep going.
You've got the momentum.
You've broken through.
It's like we're building this, like, personalized morning routine toolkit.
I love that. A toolkit.
Each thing we talk about, it's another tool.
Find what works for you.
It's not about finding one perfect routine.
No, there's no magic formula.
It's about finding what works for you, your life, your goals.
Experiment. Try things out.
Mix and match.
Find what fits.
I like that. So it's tailor-made, right?
Exactly.
And it can change, right?
Oh, absolutely.
What worked a year ago might not work now.
Your needs change.
Life changes.
Gotta be flexible.
It's about finding a routine that evolves with you. It's a journey, not a destination.
I like that. And, we have to acknowledge that
Right.
there are going to be days where even the best routine,
Yeah.
it just goes out the window.
Life happens.
Life happens. You can't control everything.
The key is to not get derailed.
So it's finding that balance, right?
Balance is key.
Structure, but also flexibility.
Consistency, but also grace.
It's not about being perfect.
No, it's about progress. It's about setting yourself up for a good day.
A day that feels intentional,
Yeah.
aligned with your values,
I like that.
filled with purpose.
That's a great way to put it. So it's not about becoming some productivity machine.
No, not at all.
It's about nourishing your mind, your body, your spirit.
It's about feeling good.
So as we kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave everyone with a thought.
Okay.
What one small change could you make to your morning routine tomorrow
Just one small thing.
to create a more intentional start to your day?
It could be anything.
Maybe adding a few minutes of mindfulness,
Oh, I like that.
prioritizing hydration,
We talked about that. It's important.
or maybe just setting an intention for the day.
Setting an intention, that's powerful.
Even the smallest adjustments can make a difference.
They really can.
Create that positive momentum.
Ripple effect.
And don't forget about the 2-minute rule.
That's my favorite.
What tiny step could you take today
Just one tiny step.
to get closer to a habit you want to build?
Or a goal you want to achieve.
Remember, progress isn't always about giant leaps.
Sometimes it's baby steps
It's those small, consistent actions.
that make a big difference over time.
Okay, we're back. Final part of our deep dive.
I know, I can't believe it.
Time flies when you're talking about morning routines.
It really does.
We've covered so much, alarm clocks, 2-minute rule, all that.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
But before we wrap up completely, I want to kind of like zoom out.
See the bigger picture.
Yeah, like what does it actually mean to have a morning routine that really works?
It's a good question.
You can't just be checking things off a list, right?
Right, it's got to be more than that.
It's got to be something deeper.
It's about how everything works together
Okay.
to create a sense of like flow, intention,
Nice.
almost like composing a piece of music.
I like that.
Each note has its place,
Yeah.
but it's the melody, the harmony, the whole structure
Okay.
that makes it really work.
So how do we compose our own morning routine masterpiece?
Well, I think self-awareness is huge. You got to know yourself.
What do you mean?
What do you need? What do you like? What are your goals?
It's like we need to become like morning routine detectives,
That's a good way to put it.
figuring out our habits, what works, what doesn't.
Exactly.
It's a process, right?
It is. You have to experiment.
Try different things.
See what sticks.
It's not like there's one right answer.
No magic formula.
It's tailor-made just for you.
For you,
And it can change, right?
of course.
As you change, as life changes.
Your routine should change too.
So it's like a living thing.
Kind of. It evolves with you.
And, we have to admit, there are going to be days
Oh, yeah.
where the routine just goes out the window.
Life happens.
You sleep in, you're late, things come up.
It's okay.
It's not about being perfect.
No, not at all.
It's about finding that balance,
Balance is key.
structure, but also flexibility.
Consistency, but also, giving yourself a break.
It's not about becoming some kind of superhuman, productivity robot.
No way.
It's about setting yourself up for a good day.
A day that feels like purposeful
Yeah.
and fulfilling.
So as we're wrapping up this whole deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave everyone with one last thought.
Okay.
What's one small change you can make to your morning routine tomorrow
Just one little thing.
to make it a little bit more intentional?
Could be adding a few minutes of mindfulness.
Maybe just drink more water,
Hydrate.
or maybe just like set an intention for the day.
Intentions are powerful.
Even the smallest things can make a difference.
They really can. It's those little things that add up over time.
And don't forget that 2-minute rule.
My favorite.
What tiny step can you take today?
To move towards a habit you want to build.
Or a goal you want to achieve?
Progress isn't always about huge leaps.
It's about those small, consistent actions.
That's how you create real change.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for our deep dive into morning routines.
It's been fun.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And remember, your ideal morning routine, it's out there.
Keep experimenting.
Keep exploring
Find what works for you.
and make each day your best yet.
You got this.